Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Amazon European Masters. It's a blessing to be back. I am Duckling, and this time I'm joined by the wonderful Trouble to take you guys through the last 3 games, and as we're about to find out who will be first in Group A.
And I feel like, unfortunately, we might not have too much action in terms of, which team is going to make it out of groups, because this has already been decided. It is going to be Vitality B and AGO Rogue. But the very exciting thing is that we do not know which one is going to take the first seed. Now, of course, we're looking at some of the highlights from the previous game, and I can't Spandau pulled out the upset, honestly. I felt like the laning was pretty crisp, the transitions around the map were pretty crisp, and every time we saw Skins try to make a play onto the volley bear, it was instantly shut down by Special and Obsess.
Yeah, this was a whole new Eintracht Spandau we really saw here today. It felt like, yes, they lost their first game, but they definitely managed to bounce back. Of course, they still have one more, but what's important here is that although Eintracht Spandau are out, this does make it a lot easier for AGO Rogue to look and get that first place. If they just beat Vitality B and Crvena Zvezda, they will actually have made it. So Eintracht Spandau doing the Ultraliga solid here, helping them get that first place.
Yeah, I guess the Ultraliga fans just became Premier League fans for just a little bit here. But again, honestly, I felt like everything came together in this particular game for Eintracht and Special. Showing us how he can be a little bit of a better Na than Sigenda, maybe just in this particular game. Of course, it's easy with Salah. You don't have to rely onto your bar to get that Na ult, and you already have it. While Sigenda has to actually charge his bar. But yeah. Here's all the damage as well. Pride, of course, on his tried and true Jace in the top and 33.5k damage. And you saw that once Eintracht Spandau got the lead, they just never let go. Really great performance by the solo laners of the Prime League team and also the jungle.
Yeah, it was a monster performance. It was pleasant to watch how Eintracht Spandau did perform, but we're about to take a look at the roster because neither of the teams we just watched will be playing now. It is AGO Rogue going up against Crvena Zvezda. The Red Star already eliminated, but they're playing the Blue Shell here. If they win, AGO Rogue has a much tougher road ahead for that first place seed.
This is a huge game, specifically for our AGO Rogue. As we're looking at this Crvena Zvezda lineup, of course, where they have the one substitute, their coach, Colamax, is going to step in place of Double A. The rest of the roster, of course, stays the same. And here's their AGO Rogue lineup as well. And as we said, this is huge for AGO Rogue, just because we had Vitality B lose their first game of the day. That means that if AGO Rogue win this one, they will be tied up in the first place, which means that the last game of the day between AGO Rogue and Vitality B is going to mean which one of the two is going to take that solid number 1 in the group. And as previously mentioned, seeing how teams like K-Corp and LDLC have already made it through and their first seed, if you're Vitality B, you definitely don't want to be going up against one of the other LFL teams, so I'm pretty sure that they're looking for the first seed.
I don't want to have a little bit of a civil war there, so locking the first seed, I should say, super important. But we're into the draft. AGO Rogue, this win would be so helpful in helping them keep that first place dream alive. The Ari is the first ban, and the Twisted Fate has been removed by Crvena Zvezda.
Yeah, and I wanted to have a little bit of a look into Colamax as well, because he has been a veteran in the scene. I personally know Colamax because I coached a team back in the day in the Balkans, and it happened to play against Colamax's team back then. So I know him from like way back, like 2015, maybe 2016. He used to be like a pro player, jungle as well. So this is not something that is out of the blue. He has played the role. He's been a pro player for a while, stepped into the coaching position, and now back into the pro player shoes. And the Udyr comes back from like the memories of knowing him back then. I wonder what else he also has in his champion pool right now.
Yeah, it was exciting to see Colamax step back into the keyboard and try and press some buttons a few times, but obviously it didn't really work out against Vitality B. They were simply too strong, but Crvena Zvezda looking to at the very least head out with their heads held high and take at least one game as the ban phase is completed. We're seeing a few AD carries, mid laner Sari specifically, I note as well, and now a few hovers here from the side of Crvena Zvezda. Let's see what they decide to log in. It is the Xayah.
I'm just going to say, you mentioned hovers coming back and forth. I'm just going to say that Katarina hover has a 100% win rate so far. I'm just going to throw it out there, and holy.
Oh, wow.
Ivern and Rengar were locked in back to back. I'm assuming then that this is maybe going to be a Rengar up the top lane, unless it's an Ivern mid, which we've seen before, and the Rengar in the jungle. But Rengar is a champion that has been buffed recently, so he's extremely strong at this point. Colamax, of course, is going to reply with the Trundle here together with the Xayah. Xayah is one of these champions where she's like so good into anti-dive, so the second that Rengar presses the R button and tries to get onto Xayah, it's like really easy to evade that as well. And now I'm wondering what else could you possibly be looking for, because against the Rengar and against heavy dive composition, something like the Tamkens could also be extremely useful.
This is certainly a draft that we're experiencing here, Trouble, as Tsiperakos picks up his own LeBlanc. So a little bit of assassin tool back into his own pocket, but I'm just still shook by this Rengar Ivern. I'm excited to see where it will go in the end.
We've seen Ivern mid, we've seen Ivern top, we've seen Ivern jungle. I think it's really clever because it's like a triple flex. And the thing about, of course, Rabble and Nite is that these two guys were coming from the Gamer Legion mad scientist composition where everyone was playing everything back then. So you can never pretty much put your finger down what Rabble is going to be playing, what Nite is going to be playing. It was super, super fun. But right now, they have to focus from the sort of a go rogue, their bans towards the support. The Renata has been prominent support to be banned every single time because it's just that strong when it comes to disengage, and especially when you've got Rengar and a Nautilus and you want to be going forward, you definitely don't want to deal with that. What is the next one going to be? I'm assuming something possibly even like a Leona could come out of the picture. Something that we haven't seen banned out at all yet is the Na. He has a really high priority in the picks and bans as well, but it's going to be the Brom.
Yeah, so along the same lines of what you were talking about before, but while though the support is the focus from RGO Rogue, Crvena Zvezda looking to ban out these AD carries, the Misfortune taken off the table, so they're hinting at this Rengar being in the top lane. So let's see what they decide to close out with. Maybe another AD carry, or they want to change it up, maybe ban a mid lane as well.
I would say that instead of the Misfortune, I would have probably liked to see something like the Ezreal, because when you have a Rengar on the map, you usually want to be playing towards your Rengar wherever the Rengar is gonna end up. But RGO Rogue are going to take a little bit of a note out of the X7 notebook, I would say. Pulling the Soraka out together with the Nautilus in the bot lane. Now, of course, this is not a lane that's supposed to hard win. It's more about we stabilize, we play slow, we have the Soraka scaling into the late game, and everybody gets perma-healed. You remove grievous wounds with the R as well. And then that first big chunk of RW plus heal from a summoner could really just give somebody 100% of their HP back in a trade.
Now, this draft is getting spicy. You mentioned the Leona earlier today, Trouble, in the ban phase. RGO Rogue didn't ban it. They might be sad that they didn't do that now, as it has been locked in by Crvena Zvezda. They're about to lock in their last pick as well, hovering on the Trundle, but they're changing their minds last second and going over to that Gangplank.
And now, of course, we're going to get a reply, right? Where does the Rengar end up? Is it jungle? Is it top? And where does the Ivern also end up? Because you could go in all three positions. So I think the last pick right here for RGO Rogue is just going to give us the answer. If that Gwen actually gets locked in, that is going to still not give us the answer, because it could still be Ivern jungle or Rengar jungle. But I'm assuming it's going to be an Ivern mid, to be honest, because you have a lot of setup in your mid lane, you have a lot of setup in your bot lane, so you can use the jungle as a path into getting into these lanes and trying to get some picks.
Yeah, the Bison Bus is still living on somehow, at least in spirit, as these crazy drafts have continued on to RGO Rogue now. The Ivern mid lane being pulled out. Rabble has played the Rengar once during the Prime League Spring Split, so he has some experience on the champion, but Nite hasn't touched this Ivern before, so I'm very excited for that.
It's Nite, okay? It's, again, these two guys coming from Gamer Legion together, the bundle up of mid jungle. They literally play everything and anything, and they're just gonna pull it out no matter what. So I think we have seen Ivern mid in the NLC, if I'm not wrong. I'm pretty sure we've seen the Ivern mid, and I feel like into LeBlanc is gonna have a bunch of threat onto the Ivern, but also you cannot jump very far forward. So I would be really interested to see how this matchup is going to go, because you have a shield to fend off a bunch of the damage from LeBlanc, and you have a root. If your root does land, you can take the Rengar instantly with you and just gang up on him.
Yeah, I'm just completely shook. This is not what I expected. RGO Rogue, one of the more normal teams, I would say, in terms of their drafting style, but that seems to have changed here today. And this isn't just a game that doesn't matter. No, RGO Rogue, if they win this, getting first place would be so much easier. They would simply just need to beat Vitality. And yes, that's certainly hard, but it would be much easier than having to beat them twice in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. This is why this game is so instrumental for a Go Rogue. And you also see how Crvena Zvezda have taken this the complete serious way with the entire composition. They've got the scaling in the late game with the likes of the Gangplank, the Trundle to make the plays earlier on. And as you can see, in every single lane for a Go Rogue, every single carry is very immobile. You can get into mid lane, Ivern's immobile, same for Soraka, same for Gwen. If she uses her bubble, then Colamax can just walk in with the Trundle and very easily try to run the Gwen down. Because there is no flash on Sinmivak as well, there is the Ghost. So we could potentially see a lot of action towards the top side of the map.
So Colamax, yeah, could be looking towards that precisely, as you say. I'm excited to see where he will start, and he's picking towards the bot side, looking to potentially clear towards the top, as you earlier predicted. So my eyes are still in this mid lane. Nite, I don't normally view this guy as the guy who would go crazy champions, but yeah, sure, he's whipping something out. This split has been pretty regular for him, looking at what he's played throughout the league, but, you know, it's never too late to expand your champion ocean.
Absolutely. Did you know, by the way, Nite used to be a Katarina player also? Fun fact for you.
Of course you know that, of course you know that. It doesn't surprise me, of course, right? The Katarina one trick here in the casting booth. Regardless though, Rabble will be getting unleashed towards the bot side, so he might also be pathing towards the top side, trying to perhaps read where Colamax will be heading early on.
And as you can see, I completely forgot this interaction because that could be such an easy segue for Rengar into the mid lane. Because you can walk behind these walls in the mid lane, sneak into a brush, and then jump onto your target from there. So the fact that they're playing the Ivern in the mid lane is giving Rengar so many opportunities to try and pull a gank or even a counter gank if Trundle wants to show up mid lane. For now, it's going to be for both the junglers, the full clear towards the top side of the map, and maybe some attention towards the top. Because again, Sinmivak is running that Ghost, so if you pin him towards the wall with the pillar, it would be really hard time for him to get out.
See if those pillars stick when we get into the fight. As Nite tries to hide inside the bush, but Tsiperakos very good at trading here. He's denying as many CS as possible, and he's certainly winning these small exchanges, as it has been a quite early game so far, but both junglers now have made their way to the top side, so I'm very excited to see if they will cross that path soon.
So it'd be interesting to see what the wave state towards the top side of the map is, because it looks like the wave is pushing towards Wondro, which means that the Gangplank is ungankable right now. There is no way for Rabble to actually get over there. Whilst if you look on the other side, Colamax could potentially look for the Scuttle Crab on the top side towards a top lane gank, but this is not going to be the case because you definitely do not want to be fighting against Rabble when Sinmivak has priority onto the Gwen, can move first into the river, and you also have the support of Nite right there onto the Ivern.
The pillar connects, but doesn't really trap Nite in an unfortunate situation, but another good chain by Tsiperakos. He jumps back out though, as he doesn't want to fully commit, and Nite survives for now, as that top lane side Scuttle did go over to Rabble, so Colamax and TasteLess teaming up to take this bottom one.
Yeah, you have to respect. Every time you walk up to Ivern, you really have to respect, especially since they knew Rabble was around with the Rengar. You can pop up a bush really quickly, and then the Rengar will have a way in to engage, especially since the pillar was down. It would have been a much easier trade for the Rengar to take and then walk straight back out. But you can see how actually Tsiperakos is able to trade into the Ivern, at least in these early stages of the game. And also the chain does reveal the Ivern if he wants to go into the brush and evade an auto attack or the continuation of the trade from the LeBlanc. So far, it's looking pretty good for Tsiperakos. The farm is even in the mid lane, the farm is even in the top lane, it's even all across the board, and both teams are taking it pretty slow.
Yeah, so with this slow game start, yet again, something we've seen quite a lot from these teams. So what I'm really looking at here now, Trouble, is we've talked a lot about the top side, we've looked at the junglers, but in the bot lane, is there any chance that we could see some action? I know the Soraka, probably not the most exciting pick to watch.
Yeah, usually the Soraka bot lane is more of like a, let's call it a quote-unquote neutralizer. So it doesn't necessarily want to do much in the lane. It's more about making sure that you scale later on. Usually picks like the Soraka, the Seraphine, the Sona, the Senna, they usually just want to scale into towards the latter stages of the game and just buff up melee carries. And you have two of them. You've got the AP carry in the top lane in the likes of Gwen, and you also have your Rengar. So with all the shields and heals and speed ups that you're going to be getting from the Soraka plus the Ivern, it's going to be extremely difficult for Crvena Zvezda to kill any of the two targets, considering also all the healing that they do themselves, right? When it comes to Gwen, her ultimate heals her for a bunch, and I know that this is like a no-brainer for anti-heal, right? For the side of Crvena Zvezda, but one, it costs a lot and it will take down a lot of the damage that you want to build, and two, we might see a gank in the top lane, so I'll stop here.
Yeah, the Bush are coming through, and that means the hubs are there as well for Rabble. Forces Wondro to flash away. He was playing it very respectively, but now beansu at the same time in the bot lane goes in. A questionable decision, and he gets rooted up with the Blade Caller. Forced to flash away. The follow is there in first blood. The Golden Toast.
That was a really nice trade from Crvena Zvezda. beansu overextended and unfortunately gets instantly punished, but Colamax seems to be in trouble. Has to flash away, of course, but that is what we talked about. The Bush!
The resets, but it's not enough. The flash forward with the shield, and it's a 1-for-1 now. Nite will simply be trading alongside Tsiperakos, who does actually have the Mimic, so he could look for the kill. The shield is enough to keep Nite alive.
And you see how well the combo between Nite on Ivern together with Rabble's Rengar works. Because even if Colamax flashes over the wall, as we see the replay, oh, this is the replay on the other side, beansu is overextended. He's trying to maybe potentially look for a pick on Golden Toast, but the anchor is going to miss, and because the anchor actually misses, he's not able to be close enough to the TasteLess or Golden Toast to put down the root. And once the silence also wears off from the side of FLICKR, this is the chance for Crvena Zvezda to actually punish beansu onto that Nautilus. And again, you see here Colamax gets caught by the root and he flashes forward, but that bush that goes down allows Rabble to get 3 resets and actually punish Colamax right there onto the Trundle. But because he also took 3 tower shots, or 2 towers, I think, it was really difficult to get out of there. It is a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day. And again, we go to dead even. But if you look at the bot side of the map, Serrated Dirk has already been purchased for Golden Toast. That hurts a lot. It's one of the strongest items in terms of value for money that you can get for any lethality user in the early stages of the game. And also the executioners, which is huge.
It just seems like he's got everything that he could have possibly wanted and even more. I'm really enjoying this Rengar Ivern pick as a whole, as Nite and Rabble, the former Gamer Legion duo, you mentioned it earlier, Trouble, they also made top 2 at the MSN European Masters, only losing to RGO Rogue. So if you can't beat him, you join him, and now they're playing this duo fighting for the first place. And it's great to see them work together, but Tsiperakos, honestly, I think he's performed exceptionally well as Colamax with that good Trouble. It's just beautiful, actually. The pillar is perfect, and as you said, the healing is there, the wish is not gonna be enough. No way you keep the support alive as Beans dies.
Yeah, and remember, Grievous Wounds also goes down right there, the Executioner. Xayah kept throwing out all these odd attacks, so Grievous Wounds had already been applied. The art does remove them, but beansu was already too low HP, and because of that misplay down the bot lane, because Crvena Zvezda really punished that well, the Colamax comes with the return gank, but then the recipient of violence is gonna be top lane.
RGO Rogue don't want to give anything up for free, and the Needlework will snip through Wondro. A quick kill to RGO Rogue.
Yeah, really nice trade right there. They trade 1-for-1, bot lane for top lane. But remember, this is a very advantageous trade. Oh!
Hello, miss. Not looking to keep him safe. One more auto will seal it, but the shield from Nite keeps Sinmivak safe. The thumbs up. And thank you for the help.
Again, this is a favorable trade to a Go Rogue, because if you looked on the bot side of the map, it was Colamax that took the kill onto that Trundle, but we mentioned how a Go Rogue really want to scale into the late game and have the Soraka and Ivern buff up the 2 melee carries, which is the Gwen and the Rengar. And as you can see right now, Sinmivak is 1 kill up. He's about 13 CS up. They got the Rift Herald as well. You could get a bunch of platings with the Rift Herald that's in the pocket of Rabble too. So I think it is a much better trade for the side of Rogue than it is for Crvena Zvezda. But nevertheless, you need to be able to punish something. And the fact that Nautilus lost his flash early on in the game, it was a really good call for Colamax to get back down the bot lane and punish again. But a Go Rogue are doing the same thing Nite did not back.
Yeah, this is simply a 10 put up to Wondro, and he's being CC'd up. There's no way out of this one, man. I feel for you. That just happens this time, right?
He's not allowed to
much
press
you can
games.
do.
It's fine, it's fine. He's just not allowed to press any games at this point. I think it's a game of respect, right? You see LeBlanc on the top side of the map. He sees that his entire team is towards the top side of the map. You actually have to respect until you see the Trundle. Now that LeBlanc does see the Trundle crossing through mid lane, he's actually going to walk up into his tower. He has his flash available and the cleanse available, but still walking very close to Leona could be deadly. The ignite is up. You do have cleanse, but okay, it's a really tricky situation when you're playing against a Leona, because usually you want to be able to cleanse one of her stuns, either the EQ combo or the R combo if it hits you. But then because you're playing on Soraka, because you're so immobile, because you need the heals to come through, you also need to save the cleanse for the ignite. But Rabble has been found.
Now, Rabble does never clinch regardless, so he's CC'd up and taken down by Tsiperakos, who might be looking for more, as the CC is also there, and beansu has to flash away to safety as Nite coming in on the flank, but can't play anything. Crvena Zvezda just get one for free.
Really good stuff right there. He gets spotted instantly on a ward, and the entirety of Crvena Zvezda just moves into the bot quadrant of Rabble's jungle and just takes him down instantly. That is some really good stuff right there. The Ben double ultimates as well. Oh, Colamax.
And Nite just simply disrespectful. Yet another chain connect from Tsiperakos. He's been hitting 100% of these games, and Colamax takes the kill.
Another kill for Colamax right here, and he honestly looks so much more comfortable onto that Trundle. 2-1-1, 2-0-1 for Tsiperakos as well in the mid lane, and this duo seems to be doing work. We expected Nite and Rabble to be doing work with the Ivern Rengar, but this has not yet come online. We're looking for potentially the first item coming in for Rabble, getting that Soraka on the Moonstone to be right behind him and be able to throw in and chuck these heals out. Riftmaker already complete for Sinmivak as well, and I'd like to see this in the top lane because they have invested so much time and gold onto Sinmivak, and right now he's so far ahead onto this Gwen that he should be able to bully Wondro away from lane.
He's certainly enjoying his time up in this top lane for now, at the very least, as TasteLess has thrown it up to try and keep his top laner safe, but maybe he's not the one who is safe at the moment, as the flash away over the wall to survive and go rogue, putting the pressure down even though they are slightly behind.
And again, FLICKR is a little bit overextended right here. He does have his flash, but might end up going down anyway. He's just gonna flash the pillar and be fine. Again, that was a little bit of an overextension, which showed FLICKR being extremely respectful when his entire team was on the top side of the map. And here's where they are again. 3 members of a Go Rogue towards the top side. Rabble is gonna pop the ultimate. The target is TasteLess.
Yeah, thrill of the hunt. They want to get a taste of TasteLess, and he's being CC'd up. A good solar flare, but there's nothing that can keep you safe from RGO Rogue. Sinmivak picks it up.
And I love what a Go Rogue have going on for themselves. They have got Sinmivak onto the Gwen, 20 CS up, 3 kills, Riftmaker already complete. They've taken the entire tower top lane together with the first tower, pre-minute 14. That's a bunch of gold that's going to be going into this Gwen's pocket. And at this point, it's just going to become so difficult to just walk up because Colamax does not have any MR, just completely Sandra. LeBlanc is going to be diving in. Gangplank is already losing on the side lane, and at this point, this Gwen on the side lane is going to become such a nuisance that she might even be able to 2v1 because you have the Wish coming in from Soraka, and once the Wish goes down, grievous wounds that has been applied gets completely removed, then a lot of the healing from her needlework is also going to heal Gwen for a bunch. So I'm wondering how Crvena Zvezda are actually going to be dealing with that Gwen, because at this point, it seems like you're going to need more than 2 members to shut her down.
Yeah, we're both asking the same question here. Our eyes were on Rabble, as Nite could get taken down here. Does have Daisy to protect him for now, but Rabble looks to pick up the kill in the end. They knock up his there, yet another push, and it's a shutdown. Very important kill over to Rabble.
FLICKR still keeps his heal available. Usually Tsiperakos did put the ignite down, but FLICKR held onto the Wish for quite a long time. And they're going to take the first dragon of the game, and the longer this game goes, the more difficult it will become for Crvena Zvezda to play the game. Once Rabble presses ultimate, somebody's in grave danger of going down, and then you have to deal with another threat, which is the Gwen on the side lane. A little bit questionable there. That Sinmivak let the tower go down. They didn't snip the minions away really quickly, but it's fine. We like playing with Legends in hard mode anyway. So again, you are dealing with 2 problems if you're Crvena Zvezda. One, how do you deal with a Rengar that's going to be buffed up later on in the game? Because this is going to be a gold drinker Rengar. It's not going to be a Prowler's Glow or a Dustblade. He's going to be tanky and dishing out a bunch of damage, while he's also healing a bunch, while he's also having heals and shields from Ivern and Soraka. And then later on this game goes, you're gonna have Ardent Senses coming into the mix and a bunch of other buffs from the two. So one, how do you kill the Rengar? And two, once you do kill the Rengar, you've got a Gwen on the side that you have to deal with as well. So Crvena Zvezda are going to have a bunch of fires on the map that they're going to have to extinguish.
And let's see how they decide to put them out, as the second herald of the game has spawned. It looks like both teams are interested in taking it. And Tsiperakos jumps over to simply take a wall, but Rabble gets a good amount of damage through the pillar. Could lock beansu up, and he has to take a long way around. The depth charge comes through, but the flash is there to take him out to safety. He even gets a chance to use the TP in from both top laners, and Colamax gets taken down in the front line. The kill goes over tonight. The needlework is massive from Sinmivak, but Tsiperakos explodes him in the middle of the fight. I don't know where the burst is there, but another good dredge line as Wondro has to flash away. As the pullback comes through, Crvena Zvezda, they take a 1-for-1.
1-for-1 at the end of the day, but Agorogue's health bars look so much better than Crvena Zvezda. They send two members of Crvena Zvezda back to the fountain to heal up. Rabble is hanging on the side, and Agorogue can actually hammer down in this mid lane tower. And once you have one assassin in your team, such as the Rengar, taking down a bunch of the vision, and this is what happens.
That is so gross. The bush comes up between the turrets, and Rabble just picks up another kill. beansu under the turret could get taken down, but no, the healing is just too good from Agorogue. LeBlanc keeps his support alive, and it's just disgusting playing against this comp from Agorogue.
So usually the way you want to deal with a bunch of healing is either burst somebody really quickly, and that's really good, right? Because you've got a Gangplank that's going to be going the grid build, you've got a LeBlanc that is a bursty assassin, and then you have your Xayah, who's also playing poke, a lot of burst damage. So you either can do this or play with a more consistent damage where you put auto attack onto auto attack. TasteLess right there. Good try, but already reset. At this point, they've tried to burst people down, but the healing is just too much, especially if you don't stick to the right target. So if they don't try to burst down the Soraka first, then the Soraka will be able to keep people healthy in the fight. Whilst if they go for any other target and the Soraka stays alive, then it becomes a really big problem to take them down, especially because they're running a more of a burst composition rather than consistent damage composition.
Tsiperakos did manage to get that one shot off onto Sinmivak, but look at this again. Nite just simply throws up the bush in a couple of seconds, and Golden Toast, he gets toasted.
Yeah, Golden Toast walks a little bit too close for comfort. I think sometimes it's just you can really easily forget the fact that the bush can pop up out of nowhere, and even though the Rengar should never have access on you, he suddenly does. And I think Golden Toast will most likely learn from that one experience, because it's not something that you have to play against very often to actually have to remember.
And Agorogue has reclaimed the lead, but Crvena Zvezda not done fighting. They've certainly already managed to put up a pretty good fight this game, and now looking to take the second herald, maybe regain the gold that they just lost and make this an even game once more.
So for this to be getting its time investment worth, it would probably have to be something like an entire tower in the mid lane. Wondro has no flash.
Thriller the Hunt, and Rabble goes under two turrets to just take down the top lane. Will he survive a few more minion shots? And he's barely out. Not even close, baby.
Calculated, and Laka also gets to keep his ultimate up. And now you see that Nite is going to pop the Daisy as well. This is going to be mid lane tower though, and remember what we said. For the Rift Herald to get its time's worth in investment, then you have to take a tower, preferably the mid lane tower. Right now, Rogue are trying to make picks on the map, and they have lost mid lane tower, top lane tower tier 1, and they're still keeping Rift Herald in their pockets for the next dragon to come. So at this point, if you're Crvena Zvezda, what you can do is shove in the mid lane or shove in the top side of the map and just pop the Rift Herald, knowing that a Rogue are going to go for the dragon. As you can see, pings are being thrown down for Rogue. Crvena Zvezda are actually waiting, and I'm expecting Colamax to pop in the Herald right here. You taking that tier 2 up the top lane, and then you get another charge onto potentially inhibitor tower.
Yeah, it seems like Colamax has learned something from playing against you, Trouble. He's doing exactly what you say right now. The Herald will be summoned in just a couple of seconds. There we go. The Drake is being taken by Agorogue, and you're reading the game like an open book, so maybe you can spoil a bit who wins this one, Trouble.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to spoil this one, man. Come on. I actually do not know. I actually do not know,
okay.
guys.
You don't have this. You don't have the full script. Only for the early game.
Okay, usually people say that my predictions curse people, but I haven't predicted anything, so it's impossible to curse.
Look, as long as it isn't shocks monologues, we'll be okay, right?
No, my monologues are fine so far. My monologues are fine.
As we move into the 20-minute mark, the Baron has also spawned, and ADC Rogue, not cursed by anything. The game, though, is completely even. They are 2-1 in Drakes, but they don't. Dead even.
I think the fact that you're playing against a LeBlanc and Xayah comp, and you're not falling behind, and if anything, you are even with a team that's perma-scaling. Look on the other side, you've got the Putrefier already up and available. You've got double Moonstone, which means the shielding and healing coming in from Nite's Ivern and ADC Soraka are going to be insane. Rabble with his second item already has that death dance. The healing and survival build is going to be insane, and also Sinmivak on his second item as well. Whilst if you look on the other side, never mind the other side, because Rabble is looking for hunts.
He's on the way to visit. On the other side, there's the thrill of the hunt, and he's doing it yet again. TasteLess CC'd up, and Rabble will look to take it down. No, doesn't have the damage actually, so TasteLess able to get up for now. The E barely misses, and the Bowler Tails goes wide. Rabble goes back to his team and will surely be healed up by LeBlanc here.
He's like, come on, man, where was my bush all this time? I found people, and you guys were just left behind. The unfortunate scenario right here, but look at the bottom of the map. Wondro is pushing tier 2 bot lane. Leona has been chucked down, and then Rogue are gonna try to go for the 50-50 Baron, but I don't know if that's the play right here, because you're even.
A bold move in the fight for first place, and they also turn back to Colamax, who just gets deleted. TasteLess with the need to work will get taken down. That's at least what he's trying to do, as Sinmivak continues to run after him with the ghost. The snip, a few more autos will seal that one up, as he doesn't have a flash, he doesn't have a way out, and Rogue back out of the Baron, and now they're just going straight back to the big worm.
Yeah, because ADC Rogue are playing this so, I would say carefully, because Crvena Zvezda have not really given them any inch for them to take, so they're trying to force the hand. And right there, knowing that Wondro is bot side of the map, they're trying to force his TP, they're gonna do it now. Crvena Zvezda have to make a big play here.
Yeah, Colamax system here, it's not going to be a 50-50 either way, but maybe they could throw around with the Blade Caller, get some damage out, maybe get a kill back, something at the very least, but Tsiperakos dashes forward, looks for Nite, but the chains barely go wide, and ADC Rogue get out with 5.
They get out with 5, full Baron on the entire team, and again, ADC Rogue played this flawlessly. They knew that Wondro was on the bot side of the map, and they know that Crvena Zvezda has been playing very carefully, honestly, the entire game. So how can you bait somebody to try and start a fight for you so you can turn this around? You just very simply start the Baron. Again, when you have so much sustain and so much shielding, it does not matter. Look, the cannon barrels will go down. ADC Rogue are just tanking it and turning it around. They're killing off Colamax first. They still have all the healing and shielding from Soraka and Ivern coming through. Everyone is full HP. Wish was also used right there. They'll take the 2 and then they'll go back to the Baron when they know that the 50-50 is not available because they've already killed enemy Smite Holder. Plus they take Wondro's teleport. So that is a win-win for the Ultraliga squad. And honestly, we have to commend ADC Rogue a little bit, because the last time Ultraliga saw any big success in the Amazon European Masters was 2020 summer. That was the roster with Sigenda, Zanzara, Trimby, Woolite. Sorry?
And Chocolate.
And Chocolate, of course. Every single member after this EU Masters win went over to the LEC except Woolite. So it was a huge success. We talked about Rogue's Academy being a factory of new talent and developing talent. And these guys right here are not only the last chance of Ultraliga, they are playing in that Rogue Academy. They are playing the ADC Rogue. They could be the next members to make it straight into the LEC.
Colamax does get CC'd up as potentially ADC Rogue look for the fight, but instead they do prefer the turret. Drake spawning in 20 seconds, so they're likely head towards that next. But Trouble, you're highlighting it perfectly, right? There are pressure on their shoulders because they're playing for ADC Rogue, one of the biggest organizations that have made so many members make it into the LEC. Larsen inspired as well if you go even further back, and now Ultraliga, as you say, only one representative left. They had a bad 2021 as well, where they only got one team out of groups throughout the whole tournament. So there's just double pressure on these guys' shoulders. It's going to be so tough, but at the moment, they're dealing with it incredibly well.
They are. They've already qualified themselves for the quarterfinals. And as we heard LeBlanc say earlier in his interview, they're like, if we play our own game, we can definitely beat Vitality B. And honestly, with Vitality B losing their last game, they've got more than a good chance. Right here, the 2,000 gold up with a composition that's ever scaling so hard versus Crvena Zvezda's composition. And it will become even harder to try and kill anyone. Second item completed for Soraka. They're both going for the double buffing item as well. I think it's a Staff of Flowing Water, if I'm not wrong. I think that's what it's called. And of course, Ardent Sensor. It's going to be 1 and 1. And after that, I'm wondering what the heck they're going to build, because there's no more buffing items.
Yeah, but Rabble is on the hunt yet again. Weird interaction there with both the Pillar and the Blast Cone. Regardless, though, no one dies. So one thing we also have to notice is Rabble doesn't have that much damage if he's gone towards the Brucia build that you mentioned earlier. So can't quite one-shot, but is so hard to kill in these extended fights.
And you don't really have to one-shot anyone right now, because as long as you stay alive and you have the more consistent damage, at some point you're gonna do so much that people are gonna die. There is absolutely no sustain on the side of Crvena Zvezda. If you look at LeBlanc, if you look at Xayah, if you look at the Gangplank, who's gone full crit build as well. So once you do enough damage to kill off somebody, they're gonna have to go back to the fountain to reach it.
Tsiperakos desperately on this flank, looking for something, hopefully trying to find a way back in for Crvena Zvezda. The goal lead is not out of reach yet, but you mentioned the scaling of RGO Rogue. It feels so hard to play this game. It might just be a 4k goal lead, but I'm gonna be honest, it feels like a 10, 12k goal lead even. Just like Crvena Zvezda are grasping at straws here, just 26 minutes in.
I mean, the most recent example as well was Bifrost played the Gwen, and at the very... Oh, there we go. That's the Soraka effect for you, RW, and full HP for Sinmivak. But this is still a huge cooldown, which will be up for Dragon. Dragon's in 3 minutes time. But again, the biggest example, the most recent example was Shikari onto the Gwen. The second he reached level 16 and got these 3 points into his ultimate, he would melt people down, and that is times 2 because he's getting all these buffs. Wondro is not getting any buffs, he's just getting Rengar.
Wow, yeah, Rabble back to full HP, didn't even need any heals, didn't need any shields, but there are no shields to get because Nite goes down, Golden Toes gets that one. Sinmivak might be looking to get something in return here. The needlework hits onto 3, gets CC'd up by Taste, but the damage simply is not LeBlanc healing him up, and the front line can't die. RGO Rogue, they just refuse to go down. Only Nite has fallen, and they pick up one more.
And look at the timer as well, 48 seconds for the next Baron as well. Making sure that you have the numbers advantage. Again, when you're playing Assassins such as the Rengar and you want to be hunting all the time, it is so crucial to have all of this vision inside enemy territory to try and make these picks like you did onto Wondro. So once again here, Nite walks a little bit on the wrong side of the map. His entire team was on the right side. He walks to the left. Really beautiful solar flare as well right there from TasteLess. And honestly, Xayah together with LeBlanc can burst you down so quickly, especially when you're going for that squishy support build.
And one thing I had to say that I didn't realize before was beansu was actually one they tried to one-shot at first, but they failed, and within 2 seconds, LeBlanc had healed them back up to full. It's so hard to burst someone when every second they're getting about 500, 600 HP worth, and on top of that, they could also be receiving shields, so it just feels so hard to play to Crvena Zvezda's win condition.
So the thing is, if we look on the left side, the only ones with grievous wounds right now is the Xayah with the Executioners, and there's also Bramble Vest onto the Leona. So the only one who's literally applying the grievous wounds is going to be the Xayah, and usually you don't want to be playing too up close and personal to the Soraka. You want to be poking with your QE, so maybe it won't even affect. But the biggest thing here is the fact that R removes grievous wounds from Soraka, but hold it.
Yeah, the pushes are coming through, and Rabble are getting the research that he wants. Let's see if Crvena Zvezda can answer back with something. No, the needlework. That's everything that RGO Rogue could want. They finally take down Rabble, but Sinmivak still alive and still dishing out the damage. RGO Rogue go peel back as they lose their main man.
Yeah, but they lost the jungle for the support right here. This is a trade that Crvena Zvezda will take at any point in this game, because 30 odd seconds and the next dragon will be up, which would be Soul, by the way, for RGO Rogue, and they've lost their jungler. But there's also the big purple worm on the map. There is Baron. So if they were able to kill off Colamax, that would be huge. Tsiperakos season opening.
Yet another chain connecting to Tsiperakos will surely be able to pick this one up. No, donates it gracefully over to his AD carry.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity. 43 seconds onto Nite, 13 seconds onto Rabble. This is so been waved to bye-bye by a Go Rogue because Crvena Zvezda are going to claim the second dragon of the game. These are some huge picks coming in from Tsiperakos. Honestly, 3, 1, and 4. He's playing his heart out right here. I'm going to try maybe to go for a cheeky look. Nothing more, just a look.
Sinmivak dashes around the pillar, but Crvena Zvezda one more while the resets haven't quite come through. Sinmivak, though, healing up with not only Needlework, but the wishes as well. The heals are there as beansu gets CC'd up, and he will get taken down by one more barrel as Wondro takes that one as RGO Rogue backing off here as Crvena Zvezda looking to push forward. Rabble, though, on the flank potential.
And here's the thing, right? You've got a bunch of heals coming in from FLICKR and Soraka, but Soraka is not the one that can walk and extend too much in team fights, because once she gets caught, and FLICKR right here, heals coming through for your team. You have a little bit of a freeze, and Rabble suddenly still an entire team.
Yeah, Rabble is in the middle of 5 members, but he's not going down for so long, and Sinmivak in the backline takes 2. Could make it 3 as well. He could look for 4 and potentially even make it far. Tsiperakos and Colamax are running as far as they can, but no one can escape the Ultra League, and no one can escape Sinmivak. 4 kills for him as a quarter.
Sinmivak 4 kills. Tsiperakos is wrapping around. They might actually find him right now, because if he walks a little bit further to the right, he will be spotted by Vision. beansu sees him right here. Sinmivak is around. He can still get his pentakill. Oh, he won't.
He's not going for it. What a shame. Well, let's see if he steals this instead. He has been spotted out, so they know that he's there. But there is a smite. Wait, there's not actually a smite.
Oh, they caught him.
Rogue, so potentially a 50-50.
There you go.
Still the pentakill. Sinmivak, welcome to the Penta Club as he picks up one, as he will take the Baron up.
And we mentioned it, right? You have 2 melee champions, 2 hyper carries, 1 in the likes of Rengar, which is AD, 1 in the likes of Gwen, which is AP. And yes, you saw Rabble. He tanked the entire fight over and over and over again. Look at that. He's tanking 5 members. It takes so long for them to take him down, which they use everything for. And then once everything has been used for the side of Crvena Zvezda, Sinmivak is like, yeah, snip, snip, I'm gonna take you down, and manages to get a very delayed but deserved pentakill on the Gwen.
Let me be honest, man. I didn't think that would be a pentakill. Look how long it takes. But regardless, though, he gets it, and he gets a pentakill of Amazon European Masters. Look how well it moves. Wow, the snip. It's just beautiful, right?
That was very close from beansu. That was way too close for comfort from beansu right there. To yoink the pentakill away.
Not even close. Not even close. What do you mean? Sinmivak, he got it in the end. It's happy.
Even though it is only a 4,000 gold lead, 4,500 gold lead for a Go Rogue, it is way larger than it looks. Tsiperakos again is going to look for a flank. The only problem that a Go Rogue have is that they have terrible siege. They only have 2 melee champions that do damage, and they're both going in.
Yeah, Rabble just simply jumps into 4-man. Sinmivak, full HP, Rabble, full HP, and RGO Rogue are full HP. They can simply not die, but so can Crvena Zvezda. They get taken down 1 by 1, 4 falls in an instant, and no one are even low on RGO Rogue's side.
Yeah, I think you summed up this team fight perfectly, Duckling. It was everyone is full HP. Even though Crvena Zvezda are putting down a ton of damage, no one's falling below 50% HP. And a Go Rogue, I think, put down a clinic right here. It was hard to execute in the early composition. You don't have much seeds because you're running 2 of your damage dealers as melees. But the way that they run the double support together with the engage from the Nautilus into an AD hypercarry and an AP hypercarry, it was a really good comp to watch.
It was a game of League of Legends. I think RGO Rogue surprised us all with that draft, and it certainly did work out. Crvena Zvezda unable to play the blue shell. They will have one more game, though, where they will fight for Pride up against Pride of Eintracht Spandau. So we will have that matchup coming up. Regardless, though, a pentakill for Sinmivak. You mentioned it earlier, Trouble. As soon as the Gwen hit level 16, it could be over, and well, it truly was.
Yeah, it really was. It's a little bit difficult, of course, when you have a Soraka as well, dishing in all of the healing and shielding with the area, and also shields from the Ivern as well was a really bit difficult to deal with. But all in all, that means that we are dodging any chance of tiebreakers coming into the end of the day. Both Go Rogue and Vitality B are tied in first place. And the last game of the day is going to be a Go Rogue plus Vitality B later on. And whoever wins that gets first seed. Remember, first seed is so freaking important because you've got LDLC and K-Corp already waiting as first seeds. And you definitely want to dodge the LFL as much as you can.
Also want to dodge Bifrost, of course. But regardless, we will head into a short break. But after that, we will come back with Nite as we get his words on this game and also how they plan to prepare against Vitality B. See you after the break.